Hey guys, this is Dave with Audio In. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, and instead of just reviewing one item, we're going to be doing a slightly abbreviated rundown of these two items, the Kinera Ace Magic Rope IEM upgrade cable and the Moondrop Space Travel Bluetooth True Wireless Earbuds. We have a lot of information to cover, so let's get into this. Okay, we'll talk about the Moondrop Space Travel first. Now, for those of you who don't know, I also do reviews on my friend Timmy's YouTube channel, Gazaudio. He does IEMs and, well, whatever else he wants because it's his channel. And then I'll do DAPs, DACs, amps, and Bluetooth stuff occasionally. And recently I reviewed the FiiO FW3 and then a little later, Moondrop Little White. And up to that point, although I had owned a lot of TWS earphones over the years, it was something that really didn't interest me that much. It was more about convenience than anything else. And if I was going to do any serious listening, it was always going to be with wired IEMs or headphones. And that's still the case even now, although I do have to say things are changing on the Bluetooth front, and it is something I'm paying a little closer attention to. And these are the two devices that kind of re-piqued my interest, so to speak, in Bluetooth. And I think these are both around $100, but I really feel like the FW3s sound great for the price, and it also offers some really great features for the price. And then there's the little white Bluetooth neckband, which I'm not a huge fan of the neckband style, but what I do like is that it has 2-pin connectors, so you can attach almost any 2-pin IEM you want, and it sounds really good. Point being, there are some pretty good Bluetooth options out there for around $100, and you can get pretty decent sound nowadays with the higher resolution Bluetooth codecs, and again, some pretty cool features as well, like active noise canceling. But what can you get for $25? Well, more than you might think actually, at least with the Space Travel. So despite its ultra budget pricing, it gives you access to some pretty cool features that you might think you'd have to pay a little more for. So let's quickly go over what's included in the box. We'll talk about the features and then we'll jump into the sound. So in the box we have the TWS earphones and a charging case. They also include a small assortment of tips, a Type A to Type C USB charging cable. Now, as I had mentioned, these are priced at $25, and they have a stem style design, which looks fine to me. I know some people don't like them, but I don't mind them. And while I did have a little bit of an issue getting and keeping a proper seal and getting a good fit with the included tips, I was able to correct that just by using some of my own spin fit tips that I have, and they're actually designed for TWS earbuds. The charging case has a built-in 380 milliamp battery that should give you about 3 full charges, and you should get about 4 hours of playback time with a full charge. It also features the latest Bluetooth 5.3, however, it only decodes SBC and AAC, so it cannot decode any of the higher resolution codecs like LDAC or aptX HD, but something that it does offer that you might not expect at this price point is ANC, or active noise canceling, which I did test out, and I was pretty surprised at how well it worked. It also has transparency mode that focuses on vocal frequencies, so if someone is speaking to you, it allows you to hear and understand them fairly easily while still wearing the earbuds. It also has a low latency or gaming mode that minimizes audio delay while gaming. The Space Travel can also be used in combination with a Moondrop Link app, which gives you access to even more features like touch customization and 3 different tuning configurations: reference, bass head, and monitor. And then of course it also has your basic touch features that allow you to control music playback and turn the ANC features on or off. As for the sound, I have to say I did not have my hopes set very high for the Space Travels, not because it's Bluetooth and it only decodes the lower bitrate codecs, but mainly because of the price point. Because it's difficult to find good sound at this price point, even with wired IM, so I just assumed it wasn't going to be that great. But this is Moondrop we're talking about, and while it definitely does not have very good technical performance, its tuning is actually quite good. It's balanced, so there isn't any part of the frequency spectrum that is emphasized or dominating its overall presentation. Speaking of its presentation, I would say its signature is basically neutral, but with some mid-forwardness. But it's not too forward as to push vocals and instruments too forward in the mix. The bass is what I would consider to be basically neutral also, so it's not elevated. It's fairly clean and has decent dynamics like you might expect with a good dynamic driver, although it's not very fast and it is lacking in its overall refinement. That being said though, it is pretty good for the price. As for the mids, male vocals sound pretty good and most instruments that fall within the mid-range sound relatively natural. I think where things start to sound just a little unnatural is with female vocals. They sound as though they're cut off or blunted, so some of the more delicate aspects of the female vocals seem to be missing just a little bit. And I think male vocals do sound a little better on the Space Travel. And some of the same issues that are found in the female vocals are also present with some of the higher frequency instruments like certain percussive instruments and cymbals. As for the treble, it's not the most detailed, but it does sound natural, and there wasn't any sibilance or harshness that I picked up on, at least not in the standard tuning mode. Although in monitor mode, the treble did sound a little bit harsh, but only at higher volumes. Now, in regards to the modes, I found that the reference mode was the cleanest of the three, and as I had mentioned at the beginning, its technicalities just aren't that great. So the imaging lacks focus, although you can kind of place the instruments in their general area, but they're just kind of floating and not really anchored well within their space. And the detail retrieval, as I had mentioned, it's just okay. It's about what you might expect at this price point. So I guess really the bottom line with the Space Travel is in its standard or reference tuning mode, the tuning is actually pretty decent. It's not your typical V-shaped tuned budget TWS. Moondrop actually took the time to give it a fairly neutral and balanced presentation. And as far as just general use and listening to music, it's actually done quite well in my opinion. But what makes this such a great value is on top of its good tuning, you also get a ton of other features that you just typically wouldn't expect at this price. So the Space Travel is a decent sounding, feature-packed budget TWS from Moondrop, and it's easily worth its $25 asking price in my opinion. Okay, let's move on. So up next we have the Kinera Ace 2.0 IEM upgrade cable. It's priced at $49. Included in the box is the cable, of course. And this being a modular cable, they also have included a 3.5 single-ended, 4.4 balanced, and 2.5 balanced interchangeable termination. Also included is a soft carrying pouch. This particular cable came with MMCX connectors. However, they do have a 2-pin option available. You just have to choose which one you want when you're placing the order. As far as the construction of the cable, it's made using 8 strands of silver foil and copper alloy wires that are coated in a soft PVC silicone. The terminations, plugs, and splitter are made of metal, and the termination plugs themselves are made out of a gold-plated copper. And as far as managing the cable, the jacketing is nice and smooth, so it's quite easy to untangle. It doesn't have that grippy texture that causes it to catch on itself when it gets tangled up. So it's fairly soft and pliable, and it doesn't really have much memory, so it lays nice and straight, and when it's time to put it away, it's very easy to wrap up and store. As far as using the interchangeable terminations, swapping them out is quite simple. There's nothing to unscrew. You just simply line up the groove and plug it in. So I do need to clarify where I stand on cables and whether they affect the overall sound quality of an IEM. From my experience, cables only affect the sound of a headphone or IEM under very specific conditions. And typically, that's only if you have a headphone or IEM, again, with very low impedance. And even then, it's not really guaranteed to affect the sound. There is the potential for it to, but it's not guaranteed. That being said, the Kinera Ace 2.0 sounds good. It sounds as it should. There was really no distinguishable difference between this cable and my other stock cables, and I actually have several MMCX IEMs, and I was able to get the MMCX connector to seat properly on most of them, with the exception of the Sennheiser IE600. And I think because of the type of MMCX connector they use, it actually is a little bit recessed, so it's not seating all the way. It did connect and it did work, but it just wasn't as secure of a connection as it was with all of my other IEMs that had MMCX connectors. And the other IEMs I tested it with were the FIO FX15, 2020 Campfire Andromedas, the DM9, which I have right here, and the Dunu Falcon Pros. And those all worked and sounded great with the Ace 2.0 cable. So just some final thoughts on the Kinera Ace 2.0 cable. It seems like more and more companies are starting to include some kind of interchangeable termination system with their IEMs, like the QOA Aviation, the BQEYZ Winter Ultra, Dunu Falcon Ultra, Yume Ultra, CVJ Kumo. So depending on your collection, you may already have a cable, and this may not be something that you need. That being said, if you don't already have a cable with interchangeable terminations, or you just want a backup cable, then this might be a great option for you. I can tell you that it's a very good cable for the price, and its interchangeable termination system is very easy to use. It's also very well built. The materials they used are of good quality. It's very nice looking, and it really does sound great. Overall, I think the Kinera Ace 2.0 is a great cable. Again, if it's something you think you might need, if you don't already have this kind of cable, I think this one at the $49 price point, I think this is a great little cable, and it could be a good fit for you. So that concludes my reviews of the Moondrop Space Travel and the Kinera Ace 2.0 upgrade cable. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. If you like my content, please take a second and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you would please like this video, please share this video. I hope you have an awesome day.